Welcome to part 2, and at last we board the Silver Galapagos, Silversea's smallest ship that exclusively sails these islands. Entering Silversea's service in 2013, she was actually built between 1989 and 1991. She can host a maximum of 100 guests and around 70 crew. 100 guests is the maximum that the Ecuadorian government will allow on a single vessel in the Galapagos, so she's pretty much the biggest ship here. You embark and disembark using one of the ship's Zodiac inflatable boats onto these steps, which look rickety and treacherous from a distance but are reassuringly solid underfoot and fairly easy to get onto. Like almost anything in life, it's all about the timing. Now we're on board and it's nice and quiet, we'll do a quick ship tour. And it's quick not because we're in a hurry, but because it's so small. The restaurant on the lowest public deck is the main dining venue. There are only 2 on board, so although the choice is limited, it's not something that concerns you at all. This is not a voyage of gastronomy after all, although the food still possesses all of Silversea's hallmarks. The equipment area is not what you normally see on a cruise ship. At the start of your expedition, you are issued with your own wetsuit, snorkeling equipment and flippers, all kept neatly in a bag identified by your room number. They are kept here too, so you don't have to mess up your room or use valuable space that could otherwise be used for, say, champagne and chocolates. I mentioned the Zodiacs at the beginning, and here they are at the bow. They are the only means of getting onto the islands, as there is no berths anywhere on any island. Zodiacs are stable, tough little boats, and you'll come to love them as part of your experience. The Explorer Lounge is where all the evening talks and briefings happen, and if you only cruise for the Broadway-style nightly entertainment, this is not the cruise for you. The library is full to the brim with reference books relating to your expedition should you need to sharpen up on your Darwinism or flora and fauna. There was also a game of Jenga in here, which, given the ship's size and thus its tendency to bob around on the water, you'd be slightly bonkers to give that a go. Reception also doubles up as the main entrance and exit to the ship, and where you can pick up an ice-cold refreshment upon your return from your day's adventures. Up we go the only guest staircase on the ship, wrapped around its only elevator, until we reach deck 4 and the ship's main social venue, the piano bar. As well as a bar, there's a coffee and tea station here all day, with cookies, and Silversea also serve afternoon tea here, as we'll see in a later episode. To the rear of the piano bar is one of the few external seating areas. It's small but very relaxing in the shade, and is a lovely place to have a cocktail in the evenings as the sun goes down. Directly above the piano bar is the second food venue, the Grill, which is extremely popular at lunchtime, and it transforms into the Hot Rocks venue in the evening. There's also another small and extremely quiet seating area at the front of the ship on this deck, and immediately above that, on deck 6, is the whirlpool or hot tub area with the ship's only sun loungers, 4 of them. Yes, 4. But you're not here to relax, are you? There's a small gym if you've still got any energy left after the day's venturing, and opposite that, a small beauty salon. And we're done. Told you it was small. Right, tour done. Let's begin what we're here to do. Our very first outing was a wet landing. This means you jump out of the Zodiac into shallow water. Yep, your feet get wet. So a bit of footwear planning here is vital. Leave those Jimmy Choos and Yeezys back in your suite, style lovers. It's clear that as soon as you wade ashore for the very first time, the reality of your situation slaps your increasingly astonished face. Right from the very first minute, the magic of these islands overwhelms you. Every creature here is completely unbothered by your presence. In fact, they seem to welcome you as a guest to their home. Baby animals are everywhere, and you have to watch where you tread. We nearly stepped on this little guy, not more than 2 weeks old, dozing peacefully in the sunshine. Would you leave your 2-week-old child home alone? Well, evidently here you would. And the birds? Like these Nazca boobies, they just stare inquisitively back at you. To them, you're just another strange mammal, nosily disrupting their daily rhythm. How dare we? This area of Darwin Bay was absolutely writhing in bird life. Most notably these in-season Galapagos royal frigate birds. The male inflating his red throat pouch whilst, as some would say in certain parts of the UK, hoping to pull a bird. Not only that, these particular frigate birds have the largest wingspan compared to body weight of any bird in the world. No wonder this guy is showing off his supermanly throat and his guns. And the noises on this island. This is how loud it is. How those sea lions manage to chill with all that going on is beyond me. After a quick lunch back on board, we headed down the steps and onto a Zodiac for another adventure. This one was a dry landing, meaning you get off onto a small platform, so no need to get your feet all wet and sandy. I'm not a fan of wet sand, but these little guys seem to love it. And this Sally Lightfoot crab even eats it, which I suppose is preferable to eating ticks off marine iguanas, which is also a culinary favourite apparently. Wow, I'm so glad I'm not a crab. If you haven't guessed by now, the stars of this show are the boobies. And on North Seymour they have blue feet, which look like a pair of colourful kids' flippers, which even they find awkward to walk in. They're great for dancing in though, as this male is demonstrating. But more about that in a later episode, where they made me actually cry. Stay tuned for that one. A leisurely walk further into the island reveals its more ancient inhabitants. The land iguana is found on 6 islands, having floated across on vegetation from the mainland around 10 million years ago. Mostly they just eat and sunbathe, all day, every day. Rather like being on a cruise actually. a 10 million year cruise. If you're wondering why they look a bit flaky, these ones are in the process of shedding their skins, and in 10 million years under the equator sun, they've never evolved the ability to exfoliate or moisturise. Darwin, explain that one. There's a rule in the Galapagos that you're not supposed to come within 2 meters of any animal or bird, but whilst we appreciate the reasons and respect them, the creatures themselves didn't get the memo. They will often sit right in the middle of a designated walkway and they'll move when they feel like it. And this enormous chap, weighing around 800 pounds and at 2 meters long, well, he'll move when he's ready. And with our 2 hikes done for the day, there was just enough time to nip back to the ship to change into our wetsuits for the first deep water snorkel of the voyage. Here's a little roundup of what we saw. Back at the ship, we were delighted to find some canapes in our suite, which was just the thing as you're not allowed food of any kind on the islands during the hikes.
The long walk, right? You're going to be out there for 2 hours, bring plenty of water.
Pre-dinner, there's a good opportunity to catch the briefing for the next day. Here, the expedition leader, Israel, outlines the options, and be warned, they start early, like 7 a.m. early. Although all the drink on board is included, late nights in the bar may not be sensible. Tonight we were dining with Israel and a gorgeous Italian couple at Hot Rocks in the Outside Grill restaurant. The menu is a delicious selection of Ecuadorian favourites and locally caught seafood. There's a gentle romance in eating your food off an ancient lava rock while floating around an archipelago made exclusively of ancient lava rocks. It's a magical feeling. But there was a 7 a.m. start the next day, so it was a relatively early night and we retired full of excitement and anticipation. It couldn't possibly get any better, could it? If you liked the second part of our series, please give it a like and please consider subscribing, because we've got a couple more parts coming up and we know you're going to enjoy them. Thank you very much for watching. Can we have a bit of quiet, please? Thank you.